Hi, my name is Grace and I'm a junior all-star at Pivot Performance Arts, and today we are going to be reading Barbie and the Nutcracker. One Christmas Eve, a long time ago, a girl named Claire received a special present from her favorite aunt, a fine wooden nutcracker. "Thank you, Auntie," Claire cried. "He's wonderful." But just a short time later, Claire's jealous little brother Tommy yanked the nutcracker's arm, causing it to snap. That night, Claire tiptoed downstairs and carefully bandaged the nutcracker's arm. She soon drifted to sleep on the soft parlor sofa. As she dreamed, the clock began to strike midnight. Bong, bong, bong. Sparkling mist poured from a tiny knothole in the clock. Bong, bong, bong. An army of mice swarmed into the room. Bong, bong, bong. The nutcracker's eyes snapped open. He jumped and raised his sword. Bong, bong, bong. Midnight. Claire's eyes fluttered open. She gasped at what she saw. There beneath her Christmas tree raged a battle between the nutcracker and the mice. Claire tried to help, but the Mouse King cast a spell and Claire began to shrink until she was as small as the nutcracker. "Only the Sugar Plum Princess can undo this spell," the nutcracker told her. "I've been searching for the princess ever since the Mouse King turned me into a nutcracker." Just then an owl gave Claire a shiny locket. "When you find the Sugar Plum Princess," he explained, "open the locket and you will return home to your normal size." Together, Claire and the nutcracker went in search of the Sugar Plum Princess. Though the knothole in the clock, then down a sparkling tunnel that led to a magical land. Snowflakes glittered, but it wasn't even cold. Suddenly, they were surrounded by tiny dancing creatures. "Snow fairies," the nutcracker said. Traveling on, Claire and the nutcracker discovered a magical horse named Marzipan. It ruled Gingerbread Village. Riding the marzipan's sleigh amid the broken cottages, Claire spotted a tiny doll on the ground. The peppermint girl nodded. "Who did this?" the nutcracker asked her brother. "The gingerbread boy, the Mouse King, and his army," they answered. "And there they come," yelled the children. Marzipan raced away for safety, leaving Claire and her friends to run from the evil mice. Suddenly, a ladder unfurled from the tree above. Racing up the ladder, they met their rescuers, a Major Mint and Colony Candy. "Let us help you find the Sugar Plum Princess," the Major said. Meanwhile, inside the place of sweets, the Mouse King sat surrounded by the subjects. He turned into the stone. Frowning, he listened as the bat told him the news. Claire and the nutcracker were looking for the Sugar Plum Princess. The Mouse King's eyes glittered. "I have a plan to stop them," he sneered. Back in the forest, Claire and the nutcracker searched for food and water for their journey. When the nutcracker uncovered an old well, dozens of flowers or fairies escaped. The fairies who had been trapped by the evil mouse danced to thank the nutcracker for setting them free. Filled with delight, Claire joined the fairies' fun.
Hi, I'm Peyton. I'm a junior all-star, and I will also be reading Barbie and the Nutcracker. Suddenly, the ground began shaking. The Mouse King sent a giant to attack them. The air filled with snow. No, not snow, the snow fairies. They blew on the nearby lake, turning into ice. And Marzipan galloped back too. "Hurry to the sleigh!" Claire cried. As the Nutcracker cracked the ice with his sword, the giant crashed into the dark, icy water. The group traveled into a thick, dark fog. Soon through the mist they spotted an island of silver and gold, a palace that glistened like pearls, the Sugar Plum Palace. Major Mint cried, and he led them to the castle. But suddenly the castle melted away. Clara saw that it was a trick. Her friends were trapped in a huge cage. She watched in horror as gray bats unfolded their wings and carried her friends away. Clara came up with a plan. "It's up to me to save my friends," she said. She turned to the tiny fairies who had gathered her around her. "Can you take me to the Palace of Sweets, the Corpus Fairy Church?" And suddenly hundreds of flower fairies appeared. They braided vines into a swing and tucked in a cushion of soft green moss. "Hold on tightly," they told Clara. Then they whisked her off to the sky. When Clara reached the castle, she sneaked inside and saved her friends. The Mouse King was angered by their escape. He called his soldiers and aimed his magic scepter, but the Nutcracker raised his sword and the blade reflected the evil black magic at the Mouse King, and he began to shrink and shrink and shrink. As Clara gently kissed the Nutcracker, the golden mist swirled around them and the Nutcracker turned into Prince Eric. Clara's simple nightgown transformed into a satin gown, and a golden crown appeared on her head. All around them, the stone statues turned back into people and fairies. "You are the Sugar Plum Princess," Prince Eric told, and astonished Clara. "And you have broken the Mouse King's evil enchantments." The fairies transformed the palace into a magical place. Everyone celebrated, then bowed as the prince was crowned king. "Will you stay and be my queen?" King Eric asked Clara. Clara grasped the locket around her neck. "This was supposed to take me home, but in my heart I am already there." The teeny tiny Mouse King was not finished with his mischief, however. Pimpernbat swooped in and stole Clara's locket and handed it to the Mouse King. As he opened it, Clara began to fade away. When Clara awoke, it was Christmas morning. She was back in her home in the parlor. Without her locket, the Nutcracker had disappeared. She was so sad. She didn't even care. She had to wait for her favorite aunt to arrive so they could open presents. Later that evening, her aunt finally arrived, but with a friend. "I'd like you to meet Eric," she said with a smile. Clara gasped. "It's you, isn't it?" she whispered. Eric smiled and slipped something into the palm of her hand. Her missing locket. "May I have the next dance?" he asked, and they danced. Clara felt as if they were the king and queen of their very own fairy tale castle. The end. Thank you for reading Barbie and the Nutcracker with us. Stay tuned for the next book.